Now you're ready to start creating a document. Why don't we start out with bringing in an image? You can go ahead and go to File, Place, Command D. Let's find this image here of Notre Dame. And here's a little preview. When you click on it, it brings in the image at its full size, and there's a little link icon over in the corner that tells you that this is a linked image. And if you go into your links panel, you're going to see this. The name of the file, some more info about it, and all this. I'm going to put it on my layout. By the way, InDesign also has smart guides, which I usually like to have turned on. And then for here, if I want to shrink this image, if I just bring in the corner of this rectangle, notice it does not shrink the image. The image is still the same size, it just resizes the container that the image is in. Command Z. If I want to resize the whole thing, I have to go into the scale tool, which is this right here, S. If I click on it, okay, it's very hard to see. I'm going to try to zoom in here. This is where the anchor point is for this image. So zoom back out. With the scale tool, click on the opposite end and start dragging it in. I'm going to hold down the shift key to make it proportional. Okay, now that has scaled down the whole thing. You can also use this up here to scale it that way. Or if you double click on the scale tool, you can type it in there as well, but it's much faster to do it from the application bar. Okay, so now that it's scaled the way I want it to, hit V, and I'm going to resize it like this. So maybe this will be a flyer about Notre Dame. So I have my header image here. You can also scale the image itself independent of its frame. So with your direct selection tool, A, click on the image, and you're going to see the bounding box for the image extends beyond the frame because this is actually how big the image is. And when it comes to the placed image, you can just click and drag the bounding box corners to resize it that way, which you couldn't do to the frame. So that's a difference between the frame and the image. So you can resize it, you can move it around, you can do these things, and the frame will stay where it is. If you don't like seeing all the guides and stuff like that, there is a way to turn that off. You go to View, Grids and Guides, and say Hide Guides, and also Command semicolon does the same thing. So that hides the guides. Also, you're going to see this blue outline around the image box. You can hide that too. Go to View, Extras, Hide Frame Edges, and that won't show the edges anymore. And then there's a very useful display option that you have, which is W. This is kind of like Trim View in Illustrator. It'll trim out everything and hide all the guides and all that stuff. So if you have it where you have your guides, you can just hide the guides, but if you hit W, it'll get rid of everything. So I use W quite a bit just to see what the layout's looking like without the bleed and the slug and rulers and all that kind of stuff. So I have the image. Let's add some text. Click on the T here. You can see the different type tools, not as much as Illustrator. Now, if you click here, nothing's happening because in InDesign, you always have to create a text box, even if it's just for one line of text. So I'm going to create this, and you can see the text box is the size that I drew it at. Size of the box is independent of the size of the text. So here, notice that the app bar options have changed because it's context aware. It's knowing what you're working on, so it changes itself to offer you options for that particular object. So if I change this up here. If you want to shrink the text box to fit the text, you just double click on the bottom right hand corner and then it wraps to the text, which could be kind of handy if you have like a big headline like this. And then I hit S and then drag to resize it. So I hit W to see how that's working. Oh, don't forget to save your file. I'm gonna save it in my, and I'm just gonna call this flyer since this is just a working file here. Now I have the headline. I'm going to create column text underneath it as if this were like an article or something. So I do the text box again, and I want the text box to fit somewhere within here. And this one you can fill with placeholder text also. There's an option down here under type, fill with placeholder text. And then you have all this beautiful, what I presume is Latin. And then from here, if you look at all these different options, this is the columns option, number of columns. Let's say I want 2 columns, and this is a space between the columns called the gutter. If I want that to be a 1/4 inch, you can see how that affects the text. So I hit W, and right now it's looking like something.